Before I get into the video, I would just like to thank you all for 7,500 subscribers. I truly never thought I would get to this point, and the fact that over 7,000 people are enjoying my content blows my mind. Thank you so much. The fans I have are some of the most supportive people in the community, and seriously, I can't thank you all enough. Anyways, let's get to the video. What is up, enthusiasts? It is Cedar Flags here, and welcome back to another one of my videos. Imagine your local FEC, or Family Entertainment Center. You know, the place that has go-karts, mini-golf, arcade games, maybe even a ride or two. Now imagine that place getting Iron Gwazi. That's basically what's happening in Atlanta right now. This is Cedar Flags, and today, I'm going to talk about what might quite possibly be one of the most insane risk-taking decisions an amusement park has made in the past few years. I've been an enthusiast now for around 11 years. I saw Intimidator 305 open, the first RMC open, the hype behind rides like Wicked Cyclone and Fury 325, and, well, I would say that this RMC right here at Funspot in Fayetteville, Atlanta, is probably the most absurd decision I have ever witnessed as an enthusiast. If you don't know already, Funspot is a corporation that owns 3 amusement parks in the southern United States. You have 2 in the Orlando area, the 2 most well known, Funspot Orlando and Funspot Kissimmee, but recently they have purchased a 3rd park, not in Florida but in Georgia, south of Atlanta in Fayetteville. Now, they transformed this once FEC into a small theme park, featuring several flat rides, a multi-story go-kart track, and a roller coaster. A high miler by E&F Miler called Screamin' Eagle. But they are going above and beyond for their 2022 ride, which is an RMC. And not just any RMC, an absolutely massive RMC, at least well over 100 feet. This might be one of the greatest roller coasters in the world, and it is coming to a park so small. And to be honest, I haven't had the ability to accept that this ride is coming. I know it's coming, it's just so hard to believe. It is so insane that they are adding such a massive roller coaster in such a small park. Imagine a park like, let's say, Waldemere getting Fury 325. Yeah, that sounds absurd, but this is basically what's happening. This is truly gargantuan for this park. It is probably the biggest ratio of smallest park to biggest ride. I really thought something like this would never happen in my entire life, so I guess we gotta take it off that list. I mean, look at this park. Anyway, let's get back to the script. So Funspot in Atlanta is getting this RMC, and the only things we know about it are at least 2 or 3 screenshots of the ride, and that it will have red, white, and blue colors. How patriotic. But like I said, what we do know is this ride is going to be massive with the screenshots. So today, I want to talk about if this was a good decision for this corporation and this park. I'm going to go into a few bits of information, including the location of the park and the cost of what the ride will be. And at the end, I will let you know if I think this is a good business decision or not. So, without further ado, in this extremely long intro, this is Cedar Flags, and today I will be talking about if this is a good decision or not. So first, I want to talk about the location of the ride. This ride will be located in Fayetteville, Georgia at Funspot Atlanta. Now, this park is in southern Atlanta, at least in the metro area, in a suburb, so I really feel like this will get a lot of traffic. I mean, it is only 18 miles from downtown Atlanta and 10 miles away from Atlanta's International Airport, which is the busiest airport in the world as of 2019. Atlanta is one of the biggest cities in the southern United States. It truly is a massive metropolis that has many attractions, and hopefully this will add on to the massive list of attractions that are there. Now, there is one small problem that I ran into, and that is competition. See, there isn't just an FEC, but a whole amusement park in the other side of the metro area. Six Flags Over Georgia is one of the biggest parks in the Six Flags chain, and features a plethora of amazing roller coasters, including the B&M Hyper Goliath, and speaking of RMC, they have Twisted Cyclone, an RMC Hyper conversion of their old Cyclone. But I could also see a good approach for this. Now, Six Flags Over Georgia is absolutely massive compared to Funspot. Even with the RMC, there is no way they are going to compete with Over Georgia. Over Georgia is a full-scale theme park with over 10 roller coasters, and Funspot Atlanta is an FEC with a few more rides than average. I mean, What they could do is say that Six Flags Over Georgia is the bigger park, but Funspot Atlanta is the cheaper park. Yes, it has less, but at least they have one world-class coaster that they can count on. Funspot isn't trying to be Six Flags Over Georgia. Funspot is trying to be their own thing. If families want to spend a little less money, have a little bit of fun for a day, and ride a world-class coaster instead of a bunch, they can go to Funspot Atlanta. And in that circumstance, I think it's a really good decision that it's in this location. If it was in a less populated area, I would think that immediately from the get-go this was a bad decision, but knowing that the Atlanta airport is one of the busiest, if not the busiest in the world at this point, and that Atlanta is a major traffic center, well, I would say this is a fairly good idea, so far at least. Now we are going to talk about the size of the roller coaster. Now, like I said, most details of this ride are unknown, but looking at the renderings of this ride, I could kind of assume this, kind of assume that, and what we've seen so far is a massive dive loop, the overall layout of the ride, which is going to be absolutely massive, and of course, several inversions in moments on the ride. Now looking at this picture right here, these airtime humps look absolutely massive, and they're a bit into the ride. But this dive loop right here is supposed to be right after the first drop, and this dive loop looks gargantuan, probably from 90 to 110 feet in height. So the height range I would have to give on this ride would be from 140 feet to 200 feet. Imagine a hyper hybrid in the middle of nowhere. I mean, that would be crazy. But anyway, getting back to the ride, I feel like this ride might be around 4,000 feet long, if not a little less, but I feel like it would be around that area. And looking at this, I mean, it's definitely going to be one of the biggest RMCs. Now, it might not be massive like Zadra or Iron Gwazi, but let me say it might be Goliath big, if not slightly longer. This is going to be a big RMC, especially for a family entertainment center, which we all thought was going to get the first RMC family coaster. Remember that rumor? Well, they completely shattered that. But let me not get ahead of myself again with this decision. Let's get to the money portion of it. So we can't talk about a good business decision without talking about money. So when it comes to Funspot's major past investments, nothing's come close to what I estimate for this ride. White Lightning, the GCI Woody, was $3.5 million. Mindblower, their Gravity Group, was $6 million. Now, I wanted to give a comparison of another RMC that people are rumoring to be similar, Zadra at Energylandia. Now, this ride is over 200 feet tall, which is a little above our range, but let me get back to that in a bit. This is a massive ground-up iBox RMC, and it was around $15 million. So, when it comes to the price estimate of this coaster, I would put it at around $10 million to $16 million. I cannot see a coaster of this size and a company of this much credibility to make a roller coaster under $10 million here. I could definitely see it over $10 million, but less than around $16 million, because I highly doubt it's going to be more expensive than Zadra. When it comes to the profit of this park, it is unknown, but what we do know is that the attendance in 2020 compared to 2019 was 135% more. Keep in mind, 2020 was the year the pandemic started. So if they got over double the amount of guests in 2020 than they did 2019, that really tells you how much more successful this park is getting. Yes, the crowd doubled, even with all the restrictions in the pandemic. That is crazy to me. I mean, this park is growing so much credibility with the Funspot namesake, and could possibly be getting the best coaster in the world next year. Crazy stuff. I would say I have reached a verdict on this, but first I want to get to the pros and cons that determined the verdict in the first place. The first thing I want to talk about are the pros. The first pro I want to get into is that Funspot has been known for being a very trustworthy corporation that has made pretty good decisions. Another pro is that other parks are successful. I mentioned this in the last pro, let's move on. I mentioned this earlier, but like I said, the attendance more than doubled last year. Atlanta is an absolutely massive city with lots of traffic, and when it comes to notoriety, this just got the Golden Ticket Award for being the best and most productive FEC in the country. The first con, it's huge. This ride is massive. I can't get over the gargantuan size that this ride is going to have. This tiny little FEC with a high miler and go-karts is ready to prepare for one of the best coasters in the world. This park is about to go absolute to the walls. The second con is that it is near another RMC. Now, like I said, this might be an advantage, but at the same time, it does take the competitive side a little too seriously. Twisted Cyclone is a very good RMC, and so I don't know why, but they decided to put an RMC only 20 miles away at Funspot. The third con is that even though the other Funspot parks are successful, Funspot Atlanta will definitely get less traffic even with this new addition. Those two Funspot parks are known for being right next to Disney World. That says enough. Anyway, let's get to the final verdict. And the final verdict is, believe it or not, I think this is a good decision. Now, starting the script for this video, I did not think so, but looking back at it, a lot of the statistics and a lot of the hype that this park is getting, this park is really trying to be a famous park. And they are not overexpanding, they're not putting multiple coasters here, they're not going to put 5 or 6, they're going to put 1. That's it. Now, it is one absolutely massive coaster, but we've seen this happen before. Look at Cole Martin, that's a zoo, and they added a massive RMC, and to this day it's still very successful, despite that attempt to tear the ride down, but that wasn't due to finances, that was to the government. But anyway, back to Funspot, I really think that this ride will do good for the park. And another good thing is that this isn't an independent corporation that just owns this one location. If the profit goes down, it could rely on the profits from the Orlando and Kissimmee parks, and I really think that the corporation is going to be okay with this decision. I do think that this will cause a good profit for the park and bring more people to come. This probably won't be considered an FEC anymore just because of the sheer gargantuance, if that's even a word, of this coaster. I think this was a groundbreaking decision. I think it's one of the most innovative decisions that a company has came out with. They've gained so much money throughout the past few years and decided to take a massive leap, and I truly feel like they'll make it in the end. Anyway, what do you think? Do you think this is a disaster waiting to happen, or a fairly good decision on Funspot's side? Anyway, this is Cedar Flags, and I'll see you all later.